Hey there, and good morning. Tim from alphawolftrading.com coming at you with this morning's pre-market prep with some stocks to watch. It's been an interesting week so far. Markets are guilty till proven innocent. At least that's what I've been sharing with the pro members over at Alpha Wolf Trading. A lot of technical damage out there, transportation, certain sectors that are not performing well at all. And for me, markets are guilty until proven innocent. So I want to keep an eye on some of the ETFs, short biased ETFs. We are gapping up this morning. Gap up days can be pretty challenging. We're awaiting Janet Yellen and Mario Draghi statements from them. Could be interesting day today. We'll see how the market reacts, although most do not anticipate that we're going to see anything significant out of either Draghi or Yellen. It's a Friday heading into the weekend. Cash is a viable position. There's nothing wrong with sitting on cash if you can't find the right opportunity for you to trade, right? Wait for the trade to come to you. Don't force anything. In a market like this, it can be very, very choppy and very challenging. So, and it's difficult. Like I said, the markets are guilty till proven innocent, and being more of a swing biased and long-term hold, swing biased trader and long-term hold investor, difficult to take new positions in things if you are feeling as though there could be some more weakness ahead. So, a little bit challenging out there. Cash, like I said, is a viable position, but there are also some probably pretty decent trade opportunities if you can catch the right intraday setup. So let's go ahead and take a look at stocks to watch this morning that I already went over with the members in the live session. But let's take a look at them, see what we got going on here. So we've got some good looking technical setups that were brought up this morning by a couple of members in the chat room. Actually, one that we talked about briefly because it just had some news come out. RADA, they already did an offering at $2.15, and actually it held up fairly well after that offering was announced. It's been did gap up, got out of the upper Bollinger Band. It's consolidating. They announced a follow-on contract for $1 million order. It's trying to take out the $3 holler, but really I think this might need to consolidate a bit more. It's only got 12 million shares in the float, fairly small float. Let me see if it's doing anything in pre-market off of this news. APA, it is not. See if it gets any follow through off the news tomorrow. Let me get this out of the way here. All right. So RADA is not doing anything, but could be worth keeping an eye on for a day trade opportunity if you get some real volume that comes in. Let's take a look at ADMS, which is gapping this morning off of news. There's a pretty big short interest here, 31% short interest, only 11 million shares in the float. And looking at this morning, we kind of identified 19, 18 and change as an area where maybe we see some support on a pullback, some kind of a red to green move off the open. This thing closed at $14.23 yesterday. It's gapping and sitting at about 21 and change, right? So, and that happens to be right into an area of resistance. It actually got up to $23 almost. And that's a big move from where it currently was. They did get approval on a drug. It's good news. However, maybe we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here so looking at an area of potential support. And why do we identify this area? Because of how many times it's come up into this area, acted as resistance and failed, right? So now we're looking for this potentially to act as support, what was resistance. So somewhere between 19 and 1875, 1850, maybe that's an area for support for a bounce intraday, right? ADMS, definitely worth having on the radar. PSTG is one that reported last night. Had good earnings last quarter, had a big pop, pulled back, consolidated. It's really been in consolidation mode for a while. Reported last night, had good earnings, gave good guidance, and that one is gapping up. It got up to about $13.60, which is an area 1350, 1360. We've got some price resistance there. This thing had gotten up here and consolidated really nicely just below 14 bucks and then failed. Maybe look for this one on a pullback to say $13, $12.95 or so. See if this holds the support. That's where the 50-day simple moving average is. Only 66 million shares in the float, 20% short interest. So this could be an interesting one for either a day trade or a swing on a pullback and bounce off of support. Maybe look for some kind of a red to green move there. XOMA had some good news. Do you think somebody might have known something yesterday? I saw this moving yesterday and could not find any news. And couldn't get an intraday setup, but it closed strong, and now we know why. It had some news come out this morning. It looks like a pretty good deal that this XOMA has signed up. The news looks actually pretty good, but it's gapping up into area of price resistance. So you try to identify an area where maybe we could see some support on a pullback. You've got a pivot at 1040. You've got another one at 985, 935, 850. I was actually thinking somewhere around 975 or so. Maybe that acts as support. Maybe it's 950. Look for a pullback. See if that acts as support for a bounce. It got up to $11.78 actually in pre-market, which is where we do have some price resistance, right, in this area. So maybe 1050 acts as support. Maybe it's $10. Only 5.9 million shares in the float and 14% short interest on this XOMA. So this could be a pretty wild one today. Don't chase it. Look for an intraday setup. But could be pretty hot. Let's see here. CBay is another one we were looking at this morning with a pretty nice technical setup here. Pull back to the 50-day moving average. Looking for a potential trend line break. Nice tight candles there. 21 million shares in the float. Nice lower left, upper right trend on this. 50-day appears to be holding as support. Pretty good looking technical setup. Definitely worth keeping an eye on that one. NTLA, another one that has a really nice looking setup on the daily. It's been bouncing in between these two areas, 15, 7, and 18. It's up 4 days in a row heading into this price resistance. So we either need to see this consolidate right here, right, just under 18, build up some energy before taking that out. Maybe what we look for is a pullback to 16.50 or $16, where we've got the 50-day moving average, and maybe that is the spot. Maybe we drift lower. That's the spot to take it for a bounce. Only 12 million shares in the float, 17% short interest. Pretty good looking setup there, but I want to see it build some energy here before it tries to take out 18. But good looking chart, and I think one to have on your radar. NVCR, another one that we talked about this morning with a really good look. Messing with this trend line, potentially take out the $20 holla. Riding that 50-day moving average. 57 million shares in the float, 12% short interest. Very good looking chart. Look for it to take out that trend line with some conviction for a potential day trade opportunity. GameStop, we talked about this one real quickly because of earnings last night. Actually, if you looked at the earnings and the guidance, they were fairly decent, but the headline is uh, not very positive. So what I'm looking at this GME is that it has pulled back into the $20 area several times and bounced, right? So it had pulled back to $20 in pre-market here. Um, and I'm thinking maybe it bounces again. So I'm not looking to own this for a long-term hold or a swing. Just looking for a day trading opportunity. There's 33, almost 34% short interest in this name. Um, off of that headline, maybe you get some shorts that are emboldened that decide to, load up more on their shorts. I think maybe because this has been an area of potential support, you get another bounce here. On the flip side, if that fails, the next area of support may not be until 1850 or so, right? So, um, worth keeping an eye on GME, I think, for a potential day trade scalp opportunity off of support. We'll see how it plays out, but could have that one on your radar. GE. So we talked about this. I want to be very clear about this one. It's a long-term hold prospect. It's approaching an area that I find pretty interesting. Where I really would like to buy this for my long-term hold account would be about 20 bucks. Okay, but it is pulling back to an area of potential support, trend line. And what I'm looking at here is this, right? Had this big spike down here, got down to $20 or so and bounced. And here we are testing that trend line once again. Now there's been some insider activity in this area, but I will say this about it. It looks like a very controlled takedown. You haven't seen a panic sell yet in GE, and I guess maybe that's what I'm kind of looking for, is I want to see a panic sell and head down to that $20 holla. I think they would really come in and defend the stock if it got down to 20 to try and keep it out of the teens, right? So could look at this as an area to maybe start to dabble, right? At 23 and change, if it gets below 24 as you're approaching this trend line, maybe you take a position. Now I'm thinking long-term portfolio, right? Take a little position here with the intent that if it gets down to $20, it may double up or triple up down in this area. Now I know people, the worst thing you can do is add to a losing position, but if your time frame is long, if you have a company that you think has a good balance sheet and a good business and a new CEO that's probably going to be starting selling off divisions and breaking it up, who knows what's going to happen there. Look at Microsoft. It for a long time did not do anything for many years. You got rid of Steve Ballmer, and then all of a sudden, boom, what happened? Microsoft back in play, right? In fuego. And I think the same thing will happen with GE. It's just going to take some time. So anyway, that's the long-term play for today. Let's keep going here. SPLK had earnings. It's gapping. This one could be in play. Look for a pullback to an area of support. Could be a swing. Could be a day trade. Only 137 million shares in the float. It's gapping right now to, pull it up, SPLK. 65.80. Almost, it got up to 66.50. So maybe look for a pullback to $64 or so. See if that holds the support for a bounce. I mean, it was good guidance, maybe $65. Right, we've got some congestion in that area. There is a gap right here down to 64 through 63.50. So this can be a little bit of a wild trader here, but worth keeping an eye on. Maybe for a day trade, maybe for a swing, depending on if it pulls back to an area of support. So listen, I had a full list, but I have to get this out to y'all before the market starts. I want to, before things happen, give you some time to watch the video. So I'm gonna end this with the penny play of the day that we looked at, which was TMDM. And actually, this has got a pretty nice looking setup on the daily, right? Nice little pennant formation sitting right on top of the 50-day EMA, SMA. and had some news. Got a patent, right? Is that game-changing stuff for this stock? I don't think so, right? It's got a patent. That's great. Um, but it could get some action off that news, right? It's not doing a whole lot in pre-market. It is gapping a little bit up to about 78 cents, um, which is where we've got some resistance, right? Look at this little wall of resistance right here. Um, but if it can take out 78 cents with some conviction, next area of resistance probably going to be around 90 cents. And if you take out 90 cents, then you're going to go up, maybe test this 100 EMA and the $1 holla, right? And that's a pretty decent move, right? Percentage wise, you don't have to go real heavy into this stock. If you trade it, you trade it size appropriate. But I think it does have kind of an interesting looking setup. It's got some news. Maybe it gets some play today, right? Day trade only, really. Maybe a lotto swing if you can, if it gets up to the dollar holla, right? Gets up into this area, then you hold a few shares and see if you can get a $1 break. I mean, $1 rolls can be pretty powerful, right? But don't chase this. Look for a good intraday setup. Day trade only. Maybe it keeps a lotto swing if you're able to lock in a good chunk of profit off of the day trade. Then you keep some lottos and see if it gets any follow through. Like I said, I did have some other stocks that we talked about this morning, and but I just don't have time to get them all on this list. If you like what I do, if you're interested, come check us out over at alphawolftrading.com. And that's it. Have a fantastic day trading today. Good luck. Don't chase. Have a plan for each and every trade, and always know your risk reward. All right. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you all next week.